Hey guys, welcome to the Undrafted Free Agents podcast, the football podcast that's more of an anachronistic commune than a true democracy. I'm Merp, that's Rich, he's over there, he's somewhere. It's a little different today. Welcome
I'm down in Central Jersey.
show. Yeah, this is our crossover event. Right now we're actually recording on my Twitch. I'm not live on my Twitch. This is a pre-recorded show today because tomorrow's a big day, right? We'll get to that. I just realized you can see my mouse on this. Yeah, it's weird. But before we get into that and tomorrow, right, we're taping this Monday night. There's actually the Chiefs game is going on right now. I forgot. I was gonna pop it open. I'm gonna put it on my phone here so we can keep tabs on it. But aside from this Monday night game, which is already pretty much of a banger because we've got the Chiefs 7-0. We also have a very revitalized Baker Mayfield, and he's playing great, keeping the Chiefs in it. But aside from that game that's happening right now, we had a really great weekend, as we've had every weekend. And it's odd. Last week we talked about how there were a lot of
overtime games, which always help.
Yeah, we talked about how there were a lot of 1-win, 2-win teams. It seems like there are a lot of low-end teams, but we're still getting great games out of these teams. Even a couple of 1-win teams, right? So
it just shows you how the level of play, quality of play in the NFL, really, as much as we joke about the Panthers and the Patriots, and there's not that all much of a difference between them and the Chiefs. It's really close, and we, as Giant fans, we see it all the time. We look really close, we look really good, and then we just lose it.
Yeah, it's that adage, that any given Sunday adage, no matter who you are. And that's an amazing thing about football. There are just way too many variables to accurately predict anything. So when you see something amazing happen in football, it really gets to your soul because so much had to go right for some good to happen in this muddle of bodies. Amazing things like, what the heck did Saquan do yesterday?
My goodness. Kind of a foreshadowing to our next topic, but did not know that was humanly possible.
Yeah,
that should not be humanly possible.
Yeah, it was like a definite Madden glitch.
Yes,
you're trying to do something and it happens backwards, but it still happens. It was like he was stuck in the middle of his animation. That's what was going on.
Yes, and for those of you who don't know what we're referring to, on a really great run, Saquon Barkley. It's hard to describe, but I'm gonna say exactly what. I was talking to our friend D about it, and I said it's gonna be hard to describe, but I'm gonna say exactly what happened, and it's gonna be hard for you to picture it, but it's exactly what I say. He leapfrogged a defender backwards.
Yeah,
and it's just hard to. That's exactly what he did, but it's so hard to picture that happening.
Right. And just imagine how superhuman these athletes are, and Saquon in particular, it creates joy in my heart to see him be able to play on a good team. At the same time, dread in my heart that team is the Eagles. But so Saquon goes to the left flat. He actually points. Good thing number one is he gets out into flat and Hurts, gets them the pass out there, and he's a good enough receiver to handle that part of it. He actually has to juke one guy. He does a faux juke into a reverse spin move.
Yeah.
If you trying to imagine what that looks like, it's as hard as if you just attempt it just standing with no defender in front of you, you would just fall down. So that's 2 moves already, and he's got enough in the tank going forward to do a spin.
Going backwards.
Going forward
at that point,
Yeah, into a muddle of bodies, and he knows this rookie DB is coming to chop him at the legs, and he just, while his back is turned, just hops him It was amazing, right?
In a future episode, we should really do a deep dive into like Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, because all the data and like the Giants looked at it, the Titans looked at it, said that they were going to have like a steep drop
Yeah,
in production, and they just haven't. And we should like look in and like come up with our own theories about why that is, because
right.
they're breaking all these records. Derrick Henry might have like the single season rushing record by the end of the season
Yeah,
at an age where like their legs should be given out and they should be moving on.
right. Derrick Henry for sure. Like, I did not think he'd have this much gas in the tank, but goes to show, you put these guys on contenders where the focus is shared, and they've got renewed life. I think Saquon. I think that everyone understood what he still had in the tank. It was just a question of where are you going to put your chips in that situation. It was yeah.
I like we're doing this over Zoom. I can like look up stats and stuff while we're doing it. Apparently, Saquon Barkley is questionable for the next game. Is that just because that play was so incredible that they assumed something went wrong? Something?
Yeah, the NFL was like
steroids. Something.
We can't keep doing this week in, week out Saquon. You got to take a breather so other guys can get the highlight reels.
Yeah, Derrick Henry's 30. They should be at the tail end of their career. Doesn't make any sense.
Amazing. Also, that 30 is the tail end of a career. The last thing about this Saquon thing before we move on. So, after Saquon, we had to come up with a name for it. Saquon's this guy. Like, reverse hurdles him. The defensive back actually comes out on the other side like a cartoon. He's like... Mm-hmm. He has no idea what just happened. He's like looking around, trying to figure out.
He just like tackled smoke.
Yeah,
a dust cloud.
He was like the Wile E. Coyote, like after going over the edge of the cliff. Like what?
Do they still make like playing cards or like sports cards?
Oh yeah,
because that will be the number one seller this year. Him just jumping backwards. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know how we had to live with a generation of seeing that Odell catch picture?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So we're going to see stills of that.
Yeah.
That
and
move.
As much as it hurts that like Saquon's doing that for a different team, and it's the Eagles, one silver line is that it completely wiped out anyone's memory of that Garrett Wilson catch.
Yes.
Yes. Like, oh, wow, Jumpman catch? Well, I'm going to jump backwards over a defender.
Right. Yeah, nice. It's a... And no matter what game you put onto, this is some amazing football happening. And you can't say that it's, mismatched level of play. I don't know what it is. These guys are just... They're putting it out there.
One last comment on it before we move on. The only thing that came to mind to like how like crazy these guys are talent-wise now. Do you remember like in the early 2000s when ESPN had those like crazy like NFL commercials? The one that always comes to mind, I forget the tight end's name, but they put him behind a drywall.
Yes.
And he like points at the spot, like throw the ball here, and he punches through the drywall and catches the football.
Yeah.
That's what this weekend felt like. The Garrett Wilson catch and Saquon Barkley hurdling someone backwards.
We have to go through those commercials at some point. This is good off-season fodder.
Yes.
And look at the guys that they selected to be in those commercials and like what happened to them. Because that was a Washington football team tight end. I want to say his name was Cooley.
It sounds familiar. Yeah.
He like, I don't know. I think he had one good season, and then it was like, that was it.
The other one, I think it was a couple of years later. Remember, Brady did the when he threw the ball into the throwing machine. What's that machine called? It has a name.
Jugs machine.
Yeah, that's it. And he just kept on doing it from different distances.
Yeah. I think, was it Brady or it was another quarterback also like he like threw a ball and then threw another ball to hit that ball.
Yes.
They like ricocheted. I forget who it was.
Yeah. I'm sure if we watch them nowadays, like as good as like CGI is now, and we like look back like, oh, that CGI is really bad. We just didn't know it back then.
Right. Yeah.
All right, should we move on?
Yeah, moving on. Like, so today's Monday, November 4th, which means tomorrow is Tuesday, November 5th. Of course, big day. It's election day. You know, I hope that we're going to put this out on the interwebs by Tuesday morning. So if you're listening to this, I hope you voted already. I hope you've taken, advantage of early voting. If not, get out there. Make sure you vote. Make sure you get heard. And, there are a lot of things that determine who's going to win this race. And for our main story, Rich came to me. He dug up something that I think will be super telling. Causal, correlative. I don't know. It's up in the air, right?
Yeah. Correlation, maybe not causation, but so we're going to talk about a very, very famous rule. We're going to call it the Washington football team rule.
Right.
So, dating back to like 1937. So there's been like roughly 21 elections since then. There's a really strong correlation between the outcome of the presidential election and the last home game that the Washington football team plays leading up to that election. Okay? So if we look at the last 21 elections, that game, the result of that game, has predicted 17 of the last 21 elections, which is wild. We made that.
That counts as accurate.
Yeah, that's so it's like 81% accurate, which is really good. And if we did this podcast 24 years ago, it would have been something crazy like I think it was 94%. But we'll get into that later. So here's the rule. Okay? So last home game that Washington plays leading up to the presidential election. Okay? If the Washington football team wins, the incumbent party, okay, so whichever party currently holds the office, wins re-election. Okay? If Washington loses that game and the opposition wins, not the opposing team, the opposing party, okay, wins the re-election. Or not re-election, I should say, wins the election. Okay?
Okay. Well, so there's a lot riding on these football games.
Yes. 1937, 17 of the 21 elections have followed this rule. Okay?
Okay.
So I know what you're thinking, Merp. What are those 4 elections that didn't follow it, right?
Right.
Okay. So, well, should we talk about what this means for this upcoming election first?
Actually, let's do that last. So that we'll reveal the results here. We'll call the race here.
Okay. So, actually, yeah, okay. So, unfortunately, 4 out of the last 5 elections have broken this rule. So, if we did this podcast back in the year 2000, it would have been 17 out of 18, which is 94%. But 4 of the last 5 elections broke this rule. So, for instance, we'll just take the most recent election. So, Biden beat Trump. And Washington won. Oh, wait. Yes, Washington beat the Cowboys in that game. So, since Washington won, the incumbent party should have won, which would have been the Republicans and Trump in that election.
How deep did you go? So, in 2020, the Washington team against the Dallas Cowboys, can you tell me about that game? Like, who was... Because I'm trying to think back. I've seen a lot of football. Like, who were the quarterbacks?
I can tell you the score, and I can get the stats in just a second. So, the score was Washington 25, Dallas 3. Okay, let's see. Right,
so in 2020, I'm going to say that was Dak, and Washington was a mess. It may have been Fitzpatrick there.
So it wasn't Dak.
It wasn't Dak yet.
I'll give you two more guesses.
So my next guess would have to be Romo, right? Because they almost okay.
That was 2020.
That's 2020. Oh, was Dak
Romo
injured?
might have already been announcing
that year. Was it Dalton?
Andy Dalton. Okay,
It was
and
Andy
I'll
Dalton.
give you extra credit if you can name the other quarterback who played.
And it wasn't Fitzpatrick. Oh, the other.
For the Commanders, it was Kyle Allen. Remember?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Remember when they had just like a mess of quarterbacks?
Yeah, that was a rough period for that team. Okay.
It'd be really impressive if you guess this. I can give you a hint.
So wait, you're saying there was another quarterback that played for the Cowboys?
Two quarterbacks played for the Cowboys.
Two quarterbacks.
So Andy Dalton went 9 for 19 with 1 interception and 75 yards. This other quarterback got in garbage time, went 2 for 3 for 39 yards.
Oh my gosh. I know it's not Tyrod Taylor, but it was a player that played the style of game that Tyrod Taylor played.
Nope.
Not at all? Okay. Who is it?
They played college ball at James Madison University.
That helps me 0%.
Okay. They were the XFL passing yards leader, and their last name rhymes with Gucci.
Who was it, Rich?
No, Ben DiNucci? You don't remember Ben DiNucci?
No, I don't remember Ben
DiNucci. No. I only remember because I think he had like some saying like, DiNucci's Gucci when he did well. Didn't really work out too well. Kind of bounced around after the Cowboys, played for the Seattle Sea Dragons, the Denver Broncos, and the Buffalo Bills on the practice squad.
Oh, so he's following Josh Johnson around, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So the other outliers were Bush beat Kerry, Obama beat Romney, Trump beat Clinton, and then we have our current election, which is Harris versus Trump.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
This is pretty interesting because, remember, if Chicago wins, the incumbent party wins. If the other team wins, the oppositional party wins.
Oh, wait. Okay? I thought if it was the Washington team wins, the incumbent wins.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If the opposition wins, the opposing party wins.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. So, do you remember the most recent Commanders home game?
Okay, so it was not this past weekend because
they were played at MetLife,
drubbing the Giants at home, at Giants home. So I remember. We all remember at this point, right? So that was Jaden Daniels versus Caleb Williams.
Yes.
And it was a sloppy affair for the most part. There was not a ton of scoring, but there were a ton of field goals kicked by the Commanders. And then the end, man. The end.
That Hail Mary. With, I'm going to say, was it 5 or 6 seconds left?
I don't know how many seconds were left to run off the clock, but the play lasted for almost 10 seconds.
Yes.
I hate that tactic anytime, 100% of the time, where they don't rush the quarterback in that situation.
Oh, yeah. And you saw the same thing happen. Rodgers did a Hail Mary against, was it the Bills? And they only rushed 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you give these quarterbacks time, they're so good, they're going to at least give their receivers a 50-50 shot.
Right. And you've seen the times where the quarterback actually does not get it off. That's way better than the chance you're taking of the ball going in the air and all hell breaking loose in the end zone. Oh, man. So we were because of that Hail Mary.
Yes, because that Hail Mary. So according to the rule, according to this, Harris should beat Trump, in tomorrow's election because the incumbent party should win according to the Washington football team rule. But had that Hail Mary fallen short and Stevenson not gotten distracted on that play, the opposition would have won, which means Trump, the opposition party, Republicans, would have won.
Right. So, if you are a Trump fan, a Trump voter, and you're going to find out that on Wednesday or Wednesday afternoon, whenever they get everything counted up, that Trump did not win, you should focus all of your blame on the Chicago Bears
coaching staff.
Yeah. And what's his name? Stevens? I think his name was Stevens.
Yeah, Stevenson.
Stevenson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
No. Please,
wouldn't it be wild if this election just turned just because of that one play?
Yeah.
Now, here's something interesting. So the overall rule we've gone over, the trend is 17 out of 21, right?
Okay.
Okay.
But it sounds like most recently it has not been holding true, which worries.
Yes, most recently it hasn't held true. So if you think about it, either way, some pattern's going to form where either it's going to be 18 out of 22 or 5 of the last 6 elections, the rule has been reversed.
And then we had to change the rule.
And then we have to change the rule. Well, they changed the name, so maybe they name of the football team. Maybe they can change the name of the rule or the rule itself.
Right. Do you remember the year they changed the name? That was last year, right? Or the year before?
So the first time or the second time? Because they changed from they changed to the football team in 2020.
Okay.
Okay. And then this is their second year as the Commanders.
Okay.
Okay.
So I was thinking maybe this fresh start will be a fresh streak for them.
I do think that do you think they're going to change the name again?
I do not think they're going to change the name again. I know you were saying that earlier. We were talking about this earlier. Rich was saying that they have a new owner, new owner, so possibly may change the team's name.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I see. Not a new owner. I thought there was a owner after Snyder, and then there's a third owner. Snyder was the one who made it the Commanders, or they were the Commanders under Snyder.
Yeah, but he held on to the original name for way too long.
Oh yeah,
he was fighting tooth and nail not to change that name.
Right, as if he didn't have enough things going against him.
Exactly. And do you hear one of the names they're floating out there, which I think is a brilliant name?
No. What?
The Hogs.
Oh.
While that doesn't sound super creative, it comes from the Washington football team fans that dress up as pigs wearing dresses and go to games.
Right. And there was in the 90s a set of offensive linemen that they called the Hogs. I remember because I watched all those football games as a Giants fan, had to play against those teams with Mark Rippon, won a Super Bowl with the Hogs. Yeah, that would be an apt name. I think I would approve that. I wonder if that would be something that would fly with the marketing team.
Yeah, I got you. I do love this new trend, you see it in hockey sometimes, or more recently with hockey, where they really try to pick a name that's culturally significant to that region,
yes,
to that state, to that city, and it's not as great as all the NFC North teams are. If you take out the Packers, the Lions, the Bears, the Vikings, it's cool when it's tied to your city or your state.
Yeah. Maybe we should rearrange some of these names, particularly for teams that have transplanted. Maybe the Rams.
Oh, the old LA Lakers doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the Lakers. I'm trying to think. It's not so bad in football, right? They've got more nondescript names, like you said, the Lions and the Bears and
the Rams can go whatever city they're in this year.
It doesn't matter. It's not like they're the Ravens. Like, if the Ravens ever moved and they didn't change the name, like, that'd be a situation.
Yes, that would be, yeah. That would be a great off-season pod. We pick one team, and we have to come up with a new name for that team.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that we also, like, think out loud in the middle of our podcast so that our audience gets to hear.
Write any of this down.
Our process. Right.
We just float it out there without any.
Our replays is our notebook. Oh, right. So, by the way, this game that we're watching right now live, 14-10 Tampa Bay. So we're on the verge of an upset, and I do remember someone on this podcast saying that the Chiefs might get their first loss to Baker Mayfield. Do you remember who that was?
It wasn't me. I'm trying to think who else has been on our podcast who would have said that. Was it you?
It was me. Yeah. So we're seeing this. We'll see. We'll see if the defense stiffens up. But in addition to Baker Mayfield playing well, in this game in particular, I've noticed Sterling Shepard showing up. It's weird to see some of these Giants as Giants fans in different uniforms. Yeah. But again, it's nice to see them.
It's almost like relevant. It's the team's fault, not the players.
Yeah, and that wasn't the case for the Giants, but it's been the case recently. It's very, very damaging to my psyche to see us being one of the swamps of the NFL.
Now here's one for you, Murph. Okay, so speaking of former Giants who went on to do good stuff, but not necessarily like maintain it. Kadarius Toney.
Oh,
give me 3 guesses. What team is he on right now?
He's on a team. First of all, is this a trick question?
Team.
Oh, see,
I is practice squad, so I will give you that.
Practice squad.
It is practice squad. 3 guesses.
3 guesses. Titans. Tennessee Titans. No. Okay.
In that conference, though.
In that conference, which is the AFC South.
Conference, not division.
Oh, in that conference. Oh, okay. Yeah. So in the AFC. Rams? LA Rams?
That's NFC.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. I'm trying to think of teams that are receiver starved, where they'd be so desperate as to have Kadarius Toney on their practice squad. He's not on the Jets, is he?
He's not on the Jets. Now I'll give you one more guess, and since we're tying this into this is our election show, this is a swing state. It's not the biggest swing state, but it's always brought up as a swing state.
Okay, so we got Florida, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Those are the ones that stand out in my mind.
There's another one there.
There is another one?
Maybe I might be misremembering this as a swing state.
Nevada is the other one? Nevada?
Ohio.
That's
won a couple times, right?
Yeah. It's been a battleground state. I don't know if this year it is. So
two teams in Ohio.
So we're gonna say Cincinnati?
Wow. No, Cleveland. You were given every opportunity.
Every chance to get it right. I got it wrong. I picked in the wrong conference even.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, should we end with one final note, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, let's close it out. So we've predicted, right, with all the most accurate metrics in the world, what's going to happen tomorrow. So you guys heard it here first. We have a Kamala Harris presidency on the way. Signed, sealed, and delivered. Right, Richard?
Based on the Washington football team rule.
Right.
Which is a real thing. Look it up. They call it something else, but it is a real thing.
So let's roll into what we're looking forward to. Right? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to getting the Giants game out of the way this weekend because it'll be in Germany, so I'll be up early, get out of my system, and then just going about my day. And actually, I'll be away, so I don't even know if I'll be able to watch it, but
Right.
yeah.
Toronto, same time zone, right? Yeah,
Same, I believe so. Yes,
same time
I
zone.
should look that up. Yeah, same time zone. It's like basically Buffalo.
Yeah. This summer I was in Nova Scotia, and I was surprised to find out that's a different time zone. Believe it or not, it's like that far east.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I have a special like personal weekend this weekend because I'm in grad school and I have these like intensive 5-week courses, and I just finished one this past Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So that means I have a week off. So this weekend,
perfect.
I don't have a paper due. I don't have work to do, and we get a full day, starting with the Giants being favorites for the I think first time in I don't know how long. So I get to watch the Giants in the morning and roll through the day without having to worry about putting together grad school paper. So
I actually have a adjustment to my highlight. I'll be in Toronto during the CFL semifinal for the Grey Cup, where the Toronto Argonauts will be facing off against their fierce rivals, the Montreal
Alouettes.
Alouettes. Yes, to see who goes to the Grey Cup.
So, are you going to make it
to the game?
Yeah.
I wish so. No, Toronto's the lower seed, so they travel to Montreal.
They travel.
Play at McGill University.
Okay. Great
I'm
stadium.
sure we'll find a place to watch it.
Great stadium. We have had the pleasure, you and I, of going to that stadium and watching a game there, and our seats were like field level. You remember that?
Yeah, for $10.
We were in the end zone. Yeah. We were in the end zone, but we were like field level. We got to be on TSN. Is that what they call it?
Yes, TSN. Yeah,
TSN. Right?
They're ESPN.
They're ESPN.
Oh, I'm actually glad you brought it up because the CFL season just ended a couple of weeks ago, and the Edmonton Elks, which we got off on a tangent, but the team from Edmonton is like our Washington team, where there was a bunch of name controversy about that team in Canada, their original name, and they transitioned to the Edmonton Elks. They won their last game of the season against Toronto with a walk-off rouge or single, which is just a missed field goal. And it's 1 point. What a wild, wacky game.
No, it was not a field goal. It was a punt.
Oh, was it a punt?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
It was.
You're right. Yes.
It was a punt.
Just punt it out
the back of the end zone.
That's it. Yes.
And you get a point for that. So if it's not fielded, you get a point, right?
Yeah.
Which this happened in the game that we were watching when we were in Montreal, and we asked the people next to us, "What the heck is going on?" And they said, "I don't know."
They had no idea. No idea.
It was a good
were in
time.
The casual section.
LeBlanc was flowing. No one had any clue as to what kind of football was happening on the field.
Mm-hmm.
LeBlanc.
I think it's the first one.
Yeah.
I'll see when I'm up there.
Yeah. So,
all right.
Good times.
This was pretty good for a Zoom.
Yeah. I don't know. Our off season may look like this, people. It might not be, us sitting knee to knee in our little classroom studio.
I don't know if the viewers see it, but we are so close. I know on the screen we're like far apart, but in actuality, like our knees are constantly touching.
Yeah. Oh, if you guys want to see something funny, watch the first episode. We actually are sharing the mic.
Oh,
in the first episode. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. All 5 weeks ago.
All 5 weeks ago. And that brings episode 6. Week 9? right? That's where we are, right? Week 9 to a
Sounds
close.
about
Right now, Tampa Bay has extended their lead, 17-10. So we'll see how good we are with our predictions, right? Rich with the Washington rule and a Kamala Harris win. Me with the Chiefs dropping their first game tonight. And then we'll catch up in a week, next Tuesday, get all the action for next week, which will include a Giants win. And
maybe not for the draft pick, but yes.
And now we're on a weekly watch to see if there's a play that will top Saquaning the.
Yes. I think we should also, in a future episode, just while it's on top of my head, there are 9 teams with only 2 wins in the NFL. We should do like the race for the first overall draft pick.
Yes, that's right. Oh no, yeah. When we get back together next Tuesday, we're talking tanks. We're talking tanking.
Thanks.
We're gonna analyze that, right? And you know, we are pretty good football analysts here. Last week, it was last week we were talking about how, you know, there is a lot of like low end teams. We started talking this episode about it. You know, I was listening to some other podcasts this week, and they started talking about that. So we dug that out here first.
Yes.
So yeah. Worthwhile listening to this podcast. So share it with your friends. Tell everyone. We are all over the place now. We are on Apple Podcast, Amazon Music. Where do you listen to your podcast? Wherever it is, you can find us.
We're there.
Please, it'll help us so much out if you'll like, subscribe, follow, whatever it is, however they call it on your platform. Get the new episodes every week. And yeah, sit back and enjoy 2 people who have no idea what they're talking about the NFL.
I'm just going off on tangents.
Yes. Long tangents. Thinking out loud. Stream of consciousness. All right, guys. Have a good one. We'll see you at the end of week 10. Later.